Forget about comparison of districts. Now, the president took a decision, was it on Friday, Saturday, to reassign the sports minister and his deputy following the Brazil 2014 debacle of the Black Stars?
Yes. Thank you very much. I think, you see, it's the president that decides who should handle where and where. And he's the commander-in-chief. He is the president. When the wind is blowing at a certain direction, it is his prerogative to take a decision in the interest of the nation. If he thinks the two ministers have to be reassigned, he's been reshuffling. Maybe this reshuffling was already on the table. He was waiting for them to come back.
Oh, it was?
No, I'm saying maybe, because he hasn't come out to say I'm moving this minister here because of what Ghanaians are complaining or what has gone wrong. So I think the president...
As a guess, what can you hazard? Maybe the rational...
I think it's the reshuffling that the president is doing, and it's one of the reshuffling that he has done. It's nothing to cry about.
It's not because of the disaster we had.
I can't justify it, and I don't think he has reshuffled other ministers, and I think exactly that's what the president has done.
Going by what Stephen is saying, is it not coincidental?
Very
now
coincidental.
We needed to haul or cut 3 million notes of dollars to players and officials who were participating in a tournament in Brazil, for which we had a whole media circus internationally focusing on this very subject.
Total embarrassment. In any country, decent people would have resigned. Decent people would have come out publicly to apologize to this country.
Which other country? You mean African country, or you mean...
maybe in some African countries they might be able to do so, but at least I'm Ghanaian. I would expect that ministers and people in authority who had to handle this Black Stars group, the Ghana Football Authority, people from that should have resigned. It wasn't right for a whole country to be ridiculed internationally. And then we sat back, and our president is actually justifying it. Justifying $3 million in an aircraft. What would have happened if that aircraft had been hijacked? Do you just see the security risk involved in cutting those bags of money to a hotel? What would have happened?
Well, the president said it was necessary.
What is necessary? Unibank was supposed to have done that through MasterCard system or something, and e-banking. In this new era of e-banking, we are transporting. And we chartered an aircraft, we paid. Speculation has it that it's about $500,000 US. We are told another.
The speculation.
I said speculation.
500,000.
No, $500,000 US in the paper. That for 50,000 from here to Brazil, please. 500,000, and then another 1,000. What? 1.5 million for supporters and officials. Altogether, $5 million. That's what it cost us, and we came back with nothing. For me, if I was President Mahama, at the time that the players, I don't know FIFA rules, but then if it was me, I would tell them, if you cannot take the money through the bank, then don't play and come home.
That would have been...
that would have been mine.
A very strong decision.
That is it. You
think it wouldn't have swayed public opinion?
It would not have swayed. Look, you have to be decisive sometimes. You have to be strong.
Well, the president was decisive.
You have to be strong.
He decided to take the money.
No. Look, I am not giving you the money. As Ghanaians, if you cannot be patriotic enough to play, look, Akpongwea of Liberia funded a whole national football team. When the need arose that the country could not do it, he was patriotic and nationalistic enough to fund a whole nation's football team. And then we have 23 people holding a whole 25 million of us to ransom. And at the end of it all, what did we get? We had played a loss with the US, drawn with Germany. We only had one match with Portugal, which we knew was a 50-50 chance. So if the players decided that we're not going to play until you give us this money, cash, and you know that your country itself is cash strapped for the dollars, 25 million of us are looking up to those dollars. And these 23 people...
You think there was double standards on the part of the president?
Oh, yes,
where,
I think so.
Where in another vein...
When businesses were looking for dollars,
yeah, they're preaching that don't quote prices in dollars, don't trade in dollars in the local market, but then you have dollars transported. Stephen,
what we are forgetting to tell Ghanaians is the 3 million, FIFA was willing to give that money to the players. if I'm not mistaken, and take it. But it's not like Ghana.
We're not here to discuss the subject. We're discussing.
I understand. What I'm trying to say, if the players, they are there to represent us. They are our soldiers. They are out there for war, and they are saying, look, they deserve this amount of, and the president think this is what we have to find ways and means to swiftly get it to them to boost their morale for them to do what they do best. I don't think the president made a mistake of getting in there, but I don't have the figures to justify, as my sister is justifying, that $5 million. I don't think, and we should not forget that if let's say if Brazil coming to pay their players here, all the security people analyzing all that, Ghana, they will request that protection from the military, or that the national security will make that available for them. So as Ghana did that request.
You mean Brazil would have transported?
No, what I'm trying to explain is I'm justifying the fact that you should not add a price tag to the military and the police and the escort of the money, trying to justify prices. I'm saying it's a protocol services that Ghana would have also rendered to any country.
So you're
in
saying
Ghana
it was
here.
free? You're saying authority that
there's no. I'm saying there's
no. Really.
What I'm the point.
You're saying that the security and thing was.
No, what I'm trying. I don't have the verification to justify that
so what
amount.
Are you saying? You are saying the security services provided were protocol.
Yes, we're protocol.
So
you are sure?
Yes, yes. We're protocol. Unless I'm being.
Can you say that again? So we use it as a soundbite first.
What I'm trying to explain is Ghana had the protocol of Brazil, making sure that its government delivering certain, especially from the president. He can call the president that.
So why is it the president didn't call his diplomatic counterparts, that would be the president of Brazil, to make sure they supplied $3 million in cash to the player? That was shorter distance.
You and I know it can never be done that way.
That was from Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro to Brasilia, where the Black Stars were.
Look,
it can be done.
It's got to go through a process. The Brazilian president himself cannot dish out $3 million.
But we have diplomatic. No, we have diplomatic relationships.
Yes. Yes, but diplomatic relationship with other countries varies. There's no way in the world they pick a phone call. The president.
No, I'm not saying it took us some time for us to transport.
Yes, but I'm saying that Brazilian president may not even have the right. It has to go through parliament, his arm of government, or whatever.
Well, we do understand, but these were in extreme emergencies or circumstances.
Yes. And that is the best decision the president took.
How were we able to release 3 million Ghana cedis? From where?
Well,
didn't we go through processes?
We have to go through processes.
Ghana
and Brazil, they don't go through. You mean their processes are longer than ours?
Ghana is not that bad that we can raise that money.
No. You see, you are getting the whole picture wrong. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
You are saying that. Well,
are we speaking the same language yet, like the footballers?
English, yes.
No,
English.
making sure that
we're speaking English.
Okay.
Yes. You are speaking English.
Okay.
I'm saying, I'm only asking. I'm curious to know.
Okay.
Couldn't we have used some diplomatic means to make sure, well, we cut the whole circus and the attention that we gain internationally, perhaps dealing diplomatically with the government of Brazil, to make sure perhaps the money would have sent to the players, and we somehow also would have sent the money to the Brazilian government, either through some electronic means.
That is true.
We
could have gone that route, especially also not also putting on public domain. That could have been done secretly.
You mean the transportation?
No, I'm talking about.
Somebody would have gotten wind of it anyway.
Well, I'm saying that could have done secret if government. That is true, but it could have also been done secretly, like just as you said. That's what, if we have an embassy there, that could have also handled it very well.
So why didn't we do it? You said you have the answers.
No, I'm just saying.
But the president have the answers.
But the best decision taken by the president was the best at that moment. The agitation from the players. Give me money in a hand, back in the ground, and he is a president sitting down making sure. It's their money. They've been promised. There's a budget that has been made for them. The money has been made available. Okay. Why don't you just deliver?
2 more minutes to end.
I wish
do you think that the president could have sought or had gotten better advice before taking that very decision to send the money to Brazil?
I think so. And what I want to say is that even if the president had directed the Minister of Finance to do that transfer, you understand? If the Ministry of Finance was the topic for today, then the president will not be in the news all the time. Look, first and foremost, it's wrong.
What is wrong?
Sending that kind of money.
No, it went to the players, so it means that there was nothing wrong with it.
Oh, it went to the players, so there's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, it didn't violate any...
Well, I've been trying to go into the net to see if it violated any currency regulations pertaining to the U.S. And all that. I'm still yet to find any. But even if it doesn't, it was just terrible. The mood was terrible. The mood was archaic. It just brought this country to be ridiculed, and for us, I think it was bad.
Okay.
It was a bad
I remember a BBC commentator made a statement during the commentary of the match, Ghana-Portugal, that the players perhaps were too tired
counting
in the match
money
because they were counting money overnight.
Yes.
And that was how it got. In Brazil, they had to break their global their programming on global TV. I think it's their topmost state TV to transmit live the cutting of the money from the airport through the highway.
Can you imagine?
Helicopter filming and everything. You didn't go to Brazil?
No, I didn't go.
I was in Ghana, but we saw, the video is on YouTube.
About the reshuffling. We didn't say anything about the reshuffling.
You didn't.
I didn't. But I'd like to say that I'm not very happy with the Greek ministry, because I think Fifi Kwete has been saying to the Greek ministry, Dr. Yakubu is an agriculturalist. He was a deputy, and a fine one at that. I don't think that that combination will work. It's just like putting
I don't get you. Combination of what?
Of
Fifi Kwete and
finance.
his deputy.
Yeah. Look, this is how come we are getting the problems. There is someone there whose profession is agriculture.
No, you are saying that we're putting square pegs
into round holes because Dr. Yakubu is an agriculturalist, and therefore he must have been given. He should have been given that.
You are saying that people who don't have certain expertise are being put in certain positions.
Yes.
Is that what you are saying?
That is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the president's prerogative.
I disagree.
It's the president's
when it comes
prerogative.
to political, there's no schooling for
politics.
There's no.
No.
You are there.
No, he said when it comes to politics.
When it comes, there's no schooling for presidency. There's no schooling for ministerial. There's no schooling for DC-ship.
So you don't need to have some level of experience and expertise.
Look, as a politician and the caliber of Fifi Kwete of anybody, you have been there. Government has a manifesto. We have an agenda. We have what we want, the message we give to people, and they voted us. You are there. You have the technocrats there. You have the directors. All I'm trying to say is there is no schooling for such positions. So Fifi Kwete is going there to meet the technocrats. There are directors. He's there as a politician to implement political decisions to be taken on behalf of the government.
So you don't buy her point?
I don't buy her point.
Well, you don't have
if
to
that
buy
is
my
the
point,
case,
you
you have to have a special schooling to be a president.
At the end of it, sending Afri Ankara to the presidency and sending Yamin back to Ashanti only means that they botched up the whole thing. He was not satisfied with them, and therefore he sent them out. And
that's the indication he's sending.
That's the indication he's sending, and for me, it's wrong. He should have just sacked them.
In politics, it doesn't work like that.
It's not.
Okay, Stephen says in politics it doesn't work like that. But this is how it works in the studio.
We are in crisis.
At this time, we have to close. And we're closing the discussions on this very topic or subject. And so we'll continue the discussion as far as on legal issues. Mamavi Owusu-Abuaje will be here with the Executive Director of the Legal Advocacy Foundation, Dr. Maurice Sampo, a very popular man, especially during the election petition in which Stephen Atibiga, my topmost guest, was before the Supreme Court. He was very prominent within the period, making a lot of commentary. I've had in the studio Stephen Atibiga, a member of the NDC as well as government's communication team. And Stephen, thanks for joining me this morning. I hope to have you again sometime in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
By 25th July. Thank you, JM Walk in Kumasi. JM Walk, thank you for the project.
For the mess.
To marketing, I think that you need to be surcharged for using the platform for free adverts. And also, Rodalyn Imo Rayana is a second vice chairperson of the CPP and giving me topmost contributions this morning. Really heated up from the weekend. When you don't have fuel and you come back on a Monday, you are hot. And I like your hyper...
when your lights go off at the same time.
And the dress code is white.
The dress code is white on 25th.
Yes.
You're still doing that.
July.
We're taking a break.